Hey, this is Valerie with MillRight CNC. One of the biggest questions from our customers is how to use this V-Carve engraving toolpath. So today I decided I was going to show you a little bit about how to use that. I am making a sign that has a little boy's name Silas on it. This is for my friend who is pregnant. We're having a baby shower for her next weekend, and I thought it might be a good idea to have a little gift for her to give to her to put in her new nursery. So, first of all, I started with my artwork, and this font is not a font that was available on my machine. I tried to look it up to get a free version of it. It is not a free font, it's a paid font, and I'm going to show you how I'm using it. So we use Canva a lot here at MillRight for our graphics, and I love Canva. I cannot suggest it enough for artwork projects. I mean, pretty much anything social media related. Like I said, projects, graphics, that kind of thing. So I really liked this font because see how the letters are all nice and connected, and it's this really pretty cursive typeface. Best Light is the name of the font. It was not available for free. So I just instead came and created a new project in Canva and just, used the text tool, typed in the name, used the font I wanted, and then I clicked share and then download. And if you select the file type PNG, it's going to save that as a transparent image. So really, when you import this to anything, the only thing that's going to show up is just this name and no background. You can change your settings however you want. That looks fine to me. Go to download, and it's going to go to your downloads file folder, I mean. And so then we're going to come over here to Vectric, and we're going to set up a new. I'm going to have to close this one first. Let me close it and then open a new one back up. All right, so we're going to create a new file, and the settings I used on this one were 9 inches by 7 inches, and we're working with a 3/4 inch thick piece of pine wood. We're going to start the 0 position down here in the bottom left for our material. All of that looks good like I want it, so I'm going to click OK. So to import that image, I'm going to go to File, Import, and I'm going to import vectors/bitmap, and I'm going to go to my downloads folder where I just downloaded that, bring it right in. Now, right now, it's just a raster graphic, so we're going to convert that into a vector. So we're going to go over here to the left side under Create Vectors. It's this very last icon with a little bird on it, and click Trace Bitmap. It's going to give you this menu right here. This is a very simple image, so really there's not that much to change. It only wants to recognize the outline of this name, and that's exactly what we wanted to do. So we're going to, after I clicked preview, it showed me that. So I'm going to click apply and then close. And now I can just delete that image off of our workspace because now we've just got the vector that we want. So we're going to go over here to toolpaths and pin that because it always wants to go away. And so actually, you know what? I'm not done here yet. Before we do that, I'm going to do my border. So I'm going to do a second vector, and I'm going to start with a rectangle. We're going to do the radius internal corners and have that nice little rounded inner edge. That all looks good. I'm just going to freeform draw it. That looks about right. All right, apply and then close. Now I want to center this. Actually, I want to center both of these items on the page. So I'm going to click on our border, and then I'm going to go over here and align selected objects. That's also the F10 key if you want to use a shortcut. And this is where you can align it to the center vertically and horizontally. I want to do both vertically and horizontally. So that's centered. Now we go to our signature or our name. We do the same thing. Now it's all perfectly aligned and centered. We can close that and go over here and start working on our tool paths. All right, so for the name, we're going to do the V-Carve engraving toolpath, and we are going to use a 90-degree V-bit, but that says a half inch. The one I used was not quite a half inch. So, all right, select V-bit 90. Okay, but we're gonna change those settings a little bit. I use my caliper to measure this particular V-bit that I used, and it was 0.3735. 90 degrees, 2 flutes. We're going to do a pass depth of 0.15 inches. And then we're going to do a 3% and a 30% final pass and clearance pass step over. We're going to up the ante here a little bit, change that spindle speed to 20,000 RPMs. And we're going to up our feed rate to 200 and plunge rate to 125. We're not playing around. All right, that's tool number 10. I checked that it was. So I'm going to hit OK on that. Now I'm going to calculate that tool path, and that's what it looks like. You can hold down the Alt to rotate your preview. All right, we are going to preview that, but first I'm going to do my border. So we're going to go back to 2D view up here. We're going to select this vector, and now we're going to go over here and we're going to create a profile tool path, because we're actually going to cut out this sign, and then I'm going to sand it down and stain it, and you'll see that in a few minutes. So I'm going to use an end mill for this, a 1/4 inch end mill, and we're going to do the same on everything that we just did. All right, that all looks good. Apply, select, and then go down here to calculate. And that shows us how we're going to cut through. Actually, you know what? I messed up again a little bit. Let's delete that. But mistakes happen, all right? This is real life. I accidentally deleted that whole vector. Okay, so we're just going to get rid of that and keep the vector. Okay. Back to the back to the drawing board. Let's see if I can learn how to talk today with this tutorial also. Okay, so right here, we want to edit this stuff. We've already edited this, and that was all good. I just skipped this part. So we're going to add tabs to this toolpath. And what the tabs are going to do is, like you saw in the preview earlier, I think, there were little tabs on either side. What the end mill is going to do, it's going to route everything around to cut this out, but it's going to leave little tabs where I tell it to keep it barely attached to the block of wood that this piece is on. And that way I can just use like a long skinny tool, like a screwdriver or something like that, like a flathead screwdriver, and just kind of pop the tabs off and then sand all of this down. If you didn't have the tabs, it might get a little messy with your end mill on that last couple of passes and start rattling the piece of wood around inside the bigger piece of wood around it, and we don't want that because that can get messy. All right, so we're going to add our tabs. That looks fine. I'm just going to edit these tabs. I'm going to add. I can move them wherever I want. It already added 2 for me. I'm going to add 1 more on this side and 1 more on this side. You don't want to have them near where your little fancy corners are, because that won't come out right when you try to remove this from the bigger block of wood. All right, so that looks good. We're going to do a separate last pass in a reverse direction. And I'll just kind of clean it up a little bit, 0.005. All right, that looks good. And finally, we're going to add ramps to this tool path. And what a ramp is essentially what when you think of a ramp, like leading up to a building, it's just an incline. So it's going to kind of cut into the wood like this at an angle that we choose. And we're going to choose a 20-degree angle for this. All right, let me check all of that. And we're going to do 5 passes on this instead of 3. That'll make it a little more clean, a little nicer. And then we're going to calculate that. Okay, that's better. All right, so you can see our toolpath there. What we want to do is go in. First of all, I want to see how long this is all going to take. So the V-Carve is only going to take 1:40, and then the profile cut, the actual cutting out of the sign from the block of wood. All right. So close. So that whole job takes 3 minutes 47 seconds. Cool. That's not long at all. That's about the length of a song. All right, so we're going to preview all toolpaths. I'm going to lower my speed just a little so it doesn't just completely go through it like a blink of an eye. All right, let's preview all toolpaths. And it's going to show you the cutting. And I actually I made this sign a little bit bigger than it needed to be. Ideally, you're not going to go all the way to the edge. This what I'm looking at right now is not a good example. What I should have had done is make this all a little bit smaller so we didn't go right up to the edge. So just imagine that there's a little bit more of a canvas. Let's see if I can actually change that now and just increase the size of it. Then I would have to recenter everything, recalculate my tool path, which is not hard to do, but you kind of get the gist. But anyway, so what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you our Power Out Max cutting out this piece of artwork and then what it looks like at the end when I'm done sanding and staining it.